You will make a lot more money as an editor if you can keep the clients that you're closing. My name is Malice, and this is the same onboarding process that I've used with all my clients, including the guys with 10 to 100 million subscribers. By following this process, it'll mean you can keep clients for longer, get more consistent work, and most importantly, get them to say yes when you eventually need to raise your rates. For the first step that I'll walk you through, it'll make sure that clients absolutely love the video you hand in, no matter how long it takes. A client being annoyed is sort of like a plane crash. When a plane crashes, it is very rarely the pilot's fault during the flight. It's usually because someone fucked up hours, days, even weeks before the plane ever took off. And in the same way with editing, problems with clients is very rarely because of what happened during the editing of the video. It's usually what happened when you actually closed them in the first place. So for this first step, there's going to be 3 expectations that you need to set in order for the working relationship to go smoothly. Those are style, deadline, and price. Style is just how the video is going to look by the end of it. Deadline is when the video is going to be given in by, and price is what the hell are you going to get paid for this. If there's any ambiguity or vagueness before you start working on the video, stop. Get that shit sorted first. The reason being, whenever there's a problem, it always comes down to one of these 3 things not being agreed on before. And so that you don't make the same mistake as all these other editors where they're losing clients and literally losing tens of thousands of dollars because of it, here's an example of another editor messing this up so you don't mess up like him. There's an editor, he came to me for help, and essentially he had a client who was angry at him for not getting the video done. It had only been 4 days, and I asked him when was the deadline. He said, "Oh, there is no deadline. I'm not sure why he's mad." And in the moment, to me it seemed obvious, but I asked him a question. I said, okay, if you took a year on the video, would he be okay with it? And he said, oh, of course not. I'm like, okay, so between a day and 1 year, there is a deadline, but it's just that he hasn't communicated it with you. And just because someone hasn't told you an expectation doesn't mean the expectation isn't there. So how do you actually extract those expectations up front? Let me tell you an example of a client where I had done this properly and how it saved my ass, and you'll understand exactly how to do this. There was this pretty big Fortnite channel. I'm not going to name the exact name for privacy reasons. About 2 million subscribers. We decided on $550 a video, and the way I found out what style he wanted, because I just asked him like, yo, what style do you want? And I got it in writing where he said, this is the type of video that I want. I'm like, cool. A week later, he's in my DMs. He's like, why is it like this? I want you to change this. And most editors in that situation would honestly be but the only reason I wasn't is because what I did is I went to the top of our chat, I swiped left, and I clicked reply, and I put, wasn't this the reference style that you gave me? He looked back at that video and he said, you know what, looking back at it, fair enough. That is actually what I asked for. Me having the expectations in writing earlier in the chat saved my ass and made it so that I didn't lose this client, and I made sure that I actually kept the money that I made for that video. So after you've set the expectations, you've gotten working together, step 2 of onboarding is what actually happens once you started working on the video. Most editors communicate before they start on the video, and when they finish editing the video, they communicate and say, here it is. But they're losing all of this relationship building potential in the middle. And the way that you make the most out of this is by setting micro expectations. They did a study where they found out what actually makes people happy. They found out that giving charity is one of the highest ways to actually not cure, but prevent depression. But interestingly, what they found is the amount that someone gives isn't actually correlated with how happy they get. So for example, if you gave $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 gift to someone, that actually doesn't bring as much happiness as you giving 1,000 people a $1 gift. But I actually think this exact same process of giving in small amounts rather than huge amounts one time, it applies to how people feel about expectations being set and met too. So let's say you've got like one big expectation you set. The video is going to be done like this by this time. If you meet that big expectation, awesome, you've done your job, well done. But if you actually can break that up into just little commitments and actually meet each one, it actually feels a lot more impactful than just getting the video done when you promised. For example, it's you getting paid and then you straight away telling him, hey, I appreciate it. I'm actually downloading the footage right now. I'll let you know once I've got it imported and checked all of it out. And then 30 minutes later, you actually message him, hey, checked out all the footage. I'm getting started on the cut now. This is how you keep people happy. Because honestly, if you sent someone hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars for a video, that is something that you'd probably appreciate. But step 3 to actually onboarding someone is you need to make sure that you don't leave the relationship in no man's land when you're finished with the video. What happens for most editors is they get a new client, they finish the video, and then they're left in the stage where it's like, oh, hit me up when you're ready to send the next one. The client barely ever sends another video, and honestly, it's kinda your fault. Not because the video is bad, it's not even because the client doesn't want to pay again, it's not even because maybe you got the video done late and he didn't like that. Like, sometimes that's not actually the problem, it's just that he didn't know you wanted another video. Instead, what you want to do is you want to have a clear next step in the relationship. If that guy said, hey, I'm going to the gym on Thursday, you want to come with me? And you say yes, then there's a clear expectation set that if you don't come on Thursday, yeah, you're a bit of a dick. In the same way with a client, you want it to be, when is the next video? They give a date, you say okay, and then you reach out on that date. And this applies to both new clients where you've done it after the first video, but honestly, throughout the entire client relationship, you want to be doing this where you're threading from one video to the next, to the next, to the next. So by following this onboarding process, you'll keep clients happy, you'll keep them for longer, and you'll set them up to say yes for when you eventually need to raise your rates. The only way I've learned any of this is by being in the game. I've worked with huge YouTubers with 5, 10, 15, 20, some even like 50 to 100 million subscribers. And I started from literally nothing, where I did this as a hobby, editing my own gaming videos for my channel. I've made that transformation, and these are the type of tactics that you learn by just being in the battle. And it's why with the editing layer, that's the type of things that we teach in there. We don't help new editors who are like, how do I cut? How do I keyframe? I can't help you. What we do is we take editors who already know how to edit and we scale them to 5 to 10k a month consistently. Now, I'll be real with you. It's not for most editors. In fact, it's expensive as shit. There are other editing communities that will say that they'll do the same thing and scale you to 5 to 10k a month. We're the only program that actually has consistent results. And if you look at most of the biggest editors within the editing space, they've gone through the editing layer program because that's how they got to that spot. So we're expensive as shit, but the reason people still go with us is we make them way more money, way more consistently than what they pay us. You can check out that system essentially in the description. I'll break down in that video on that link how the system actually works and how we get editors to that 5 to 10k. Whether you book a call or not to decide if it's for you, that's up to you. Even if you don't book in a call, you just check the video on that page. It'll break down the system that we use. But there is this video here where essentially it'll break down the 6-step system that I personally use to hit 6 figures a year as an editor. So you can go watch that here for now, completely free.